Well, good evening and welcome to the SHAC. My name's Barbara Gray from Clarity here in the UK, and we're set to do some colouring today. We're just waiting for you to come in. Grace, lovely Grace, is in the building with you in New York, and we've already got friends joining us. So I'm really chilled because I got ahead of you on the bus a little bit and did a bit of colouring, which is like therapy for me. So that was lovely, and hopefully the sound is good, and we're just set to do some really nice stuff. I think sound and picture is great. Nice jumper. Thank you very much, Grace. Yeah, so I think tonight you're going to enjoy the flower. If you're wondering where we are, well, let's just let a few friends come in first. I can see there are plenty of you. It's good to have your company, friends. Got a nice cup of tea and well chilled. This is a really easy one, I think, but it's also a really important one because on Monday in the SHAC, you know, we finished up the owl, O for owl, and this evening I thought we'd move on to P, because on Monday we're moving on to P, and I've got a really good idea for Monday. I've got to practice though before I can show you what I've found, what I think we would really enjoy doing. I got it in my head. Now I need to know that it translates on Monday. But in the interim, Paul suggested it. He said, "Why don't you do the pea flower, the P for poppy?" I thought, what a great idea. So tonight we're going to colour in the poppy, which is a really beautiful flower and a very important, you know, symbolically, it's a very important flower, you know. And given everything that's going on in the world today, you know, why wait till Poppy Day to be, you know, have remembrance and hope for the future, you know? Maybe hope for peace. Maybe we should plough a bit of energy into our poppies today, eh? Yeah, so I thought poppy would be nice. And I do like a poppy, don't you? I think they're beautiful flowers. We got them in the garden. They're lovely. And it's amazing how long and slender their stems are. And then they got these great big heads, you know. It's amazing that they can hold them upright, really. Anyway, there you go. That's what we're going to do. Come on in, friends. And then we'll pick a red. Because that was the other thing I did. I thought, So in, I mean, poppies come in so many different colours, don't they? And not just red, but red is definitely that symbol, I think, isn't it? That it's very, very powerful sign. So I thought we'll pick a red. And then I went to the pergoliners, and the red is very nice in the pergoliners. It's a beautiful, rich colour. But the red that I found, that I really I thought, yeah, that's the red I'm going to use. And it was actually one of my polychromos. And as soon as I used it, I thought, yeah, that's the colour. It's a kind of an orangier red. It's vermilion. And it's number 117. If you're into your polychromos, your Faber-Castells, I found, you know, look, I'll show you. I just found that this was a perfect colour. Let me just show you. I'll take the red from the pergoliners. It's nice. It's a lovely colour. And until you've got the power of comparison, you think, yeah, that'll do. That'll do, donkey. Right? So you can see it's a nice red for sure. And you can use that all day long. Certainly hits the spot. But as soon as I added this vermilion, you're going to say, well, it's exactly the same. Well, it's not. And it just spoke, to me, it spoke poppies to me. Can you see the difference? It's oranger, more orange. Is oranger a word? No. It's more of an orange kind of poppy red. But it's not just about the colour. It's about, they're very, very fine, delicate, aren't they? They're like almost, what's the word, fritillary or something? Where they've got tiny little folds in them, haven't they? They're very delicate. So I thought, well, that's the technique we'll work on, because that'd be quite nice to do. Just bear with me 1 second. Sound is good. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, so I thought, we'll learn how to do that. I'll show you what I've done. Got plenty of people here now. And we can take a look at that, can't we? P for poppy. Okay, how does that sound? I'm so chilled tonight. I'm so chilled. I had a really good day at work. It was just fun, you know. It's fun at work nowadays. It really is. And as stressful as it is and busy as it is, because, you know, we're hopping about, keeping things moving, keeping it light, you know, but there's harmony. It's so nice. And maybe it comes from me. Maybe I was just a stress ball before, you know, but it just feels like so much nicer at work now. Isn't that great? Yeah. So I had a really good meeting with Jazz, and we looked at new designs, and she's had a great idea. So she was really stoked about that. And then I added my sixpence worth. And so she's off on that tangent. And wait till you see what we've come up with for Groovy. Somebody on Facebook said, I saw it yesterday. I can't get into it, but somebody said, what's happened to Groovy? Have they given up on Groovy? I know we haven't given up on Groovy. Cut me some slack. We just had the shock of our lives in the business. Of course, we haven't given up on Groovy. But in case you hadn't noticed, madam, whoever wrote, have we given up on Groovy? We've been rotating, trying to keep the business afloat. And last week, we launched a formidable new collection of Richelieu plates by Linda Williams. So no, we haven't given up on Groovy. Whoever starts those rumours, really, give me a break. And so we've done this really fantastic little set for mini makes, especially for the mini mates, because that's where we're headed, is down the mini mate route. And so watch this space. I think you're going to be impressed. And you know, one of those ones where you come up with it and you go, bingo, everybody's going to want this one. It's a no-brainer. And provided we get the price right, and we get the packaging right, and we get, you know, the placement right and the position right, I think you're going to be really chuffed with it. And Jazz, she's just so beautiful, you know, she just grins like a Cheshire cat. She's come up with this all by herself, a little bit of, you know, a little bit of direction, and we move it, but it's her idea, you know, it's like, yes, yes, fantastic, watch this space. So the machines were buzzing today, the laser machines, they were all over it today, trying to get these out to the design team in time because we brought them forward. So if you're in the design team, friends, expect some treats coming through the post. Right, now let's have a look at these P for posters, shall we? And then we'll get going. Right, so also there was somebody who said that they bought the posters, but there wasn't a key in the posters. They had the posters, but there was no key. There's definitely a key to the flowers. It should have come with the posters, okay? Yeah, so you know exactly which flowers the posters are. I drew them myself, so I know more or less, but, you know, I had to dig deep for Z. Right, let's have a look at P for Poppy. See what I've done. You know, I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm no, you know, I'm no botanist, but this looks like a poppy to me. So let's just take a look at what I've done. And you'll see that I've tried to introduce that kind of frilly effect. You see? And I may have over-egged it a little bit, but you understand where I'm coming from. It's that it looks like it's almost translucent, doesn't it? So that's about the sum of it. And we played that game again with light, dark on the big leaves. That's nice. So I thought that would be a really great place to go to tonight. What do you think? Yeah. So pick a red, any red. Like I say, I'm going with a vermilion. I noticed that a lot of you, you know, you use what you've got in the cupboard, don't you? And I appreciate that. I'm using what I've got in the cupboard, and I'm sure that you will too. So that's going to be our peep sheet, and I'm going to go to the poster that I'm using. So the only difference here, if we look at what I'm doing, you'll notice that the letter is actually not printed in grey. I'm going with the white lettering, and then I'm injecting the grey into the letter before we start. So I'm going to go to cold grey 3 because that's the one that I really. We did the allium. Where's the allium? There we go. So we went with the allium and we introduced the grey into the background. And we've done the orchid. Again, we did a bit of grey on that one. So I thought perhaps we could just put the grey in and then we'll start on the frilly bits. How does that sound? I've already got it in place now. So let's just go for that. And let's just warm up. Let a few friends join us. And I'll just go with the grey in the letter. So that way I can see what's the lettering and what's to be avoided. So when I drew these letters, I added a little bit of artistic license. So you'll see here, this is an opening, and I've woven the poppy seed heads through the aperture, if you like. So just simple, but it's nice to do. So I think we're close enough on the camera. I've got my grey in place. I'm going to use my Dame Edna's because they're magnifiers, and it just helps me stay within the lines when I'm colouring. You know, you get to a certain age, and I don't know about you, but my eyesight's not what it used to be, you know. So I think I even need to get them tested again, to be honest. But I refuse to spend this kind of money on another pair of frames. So we'll just stick with these for the time being. Let's just get the grey in place. Let's just add the grey. And what we're going to do to add the grey is make a chisel. You know, let's just get a chisel going. When I say chisel, what I mean is that we're going to flatten the side of the pencil. And then that way, I'm just going to move this mic. Excuse me handling the mic, but I feel like it's catching on my chins. Hang on. I bet that's better. Right, that's better. I just felt it was catching on my chins. Gracie, is that better now? Because I felt I had a cable out. Is that better? My chins. I mean, I ask you. I think that's better. Okay, right, let's get this grey in and we can see, just to get our eye in, and it's just relaxing, you know, and make some space. I want to be able to turn this. Let me just move that out of the way. There we are. I just need to be able to turn the artwork. I often find it's easier if I could make the artwork come to me, you know, rather than try and navigate. Let's see what we've got here. There we go. So we're just going to come in here. So this is a piece of the letter. So let's just define the letter. That's a good start. There we go. Just gently. I think we missed a bit there. Just have to define it for you. Right. Round we go. Nice light circular motions. There. And let's relax. I've had such a pleasant prep session doing this. I really have. Of course. Right, so that's part of the aperture. We'll come round. Okay, and then later we can add the Dorso oil to make that look really smooth and printed. And we just want to get that grey in. So if you used a different grey to do your other letter, then just use the one that you used last time, because you want your letters to be uniform, don't you, really? Eh? This would be nice. There you go. So you're not pressing hard, you're just colouring in layers, you see? A little bit of depth. So I'm just putting another layer down until I know I'm on track. That's good though. And once I've done that, then I can start colouring in my flower, my poppy. There you go. Okay. So who's colouring in with me? I hope some of you are. Now let's have a look. Okay, that's definitely the red I want to go for. Have you picked your red? Now what we're going to do, let me show you. We're going to go really, really lightly. We're going to introduce, let's have a look so we can see it clearly. Right, we're going to introduce a really, really light. Now you don't want to make it too stripy. It's not an awning at a circus, you know, but you want to, so it's a light covering. The whole flower is a light orangey red. Okay, so you want to get your absolute, this is all about the pressure. How's the camera? Did you read my blog? I did a blog when I got home before I came up here. The camera, yeah. So this camera's fine. Okay, this camera here is fine. But the camera, because we've got two TV studios. I've got this one here at home, and then we've got another TV studio, the one that we use for Clarity TV when we're doing lives as well. But that's at work, and it's the same setup really. It's the same switchboard and that. The only difference is that there are 4 cameras at work. I've only got 2. I gave up one of mine to work. But the overhead is the one that's been driving me crazy. So this week we bought another camera. It arrived very quickly, and we installed it, and it's brilliant, right? None of this blurring out and what have you, right? But Jim says to me, "Shall I show you the camera, Bob?" I said, "Yeah, great." So I said, "Come on, I'll show you how it works." He said, "There's only one problem. Now we've got to buy new lighting." I said, "Are you kidding me?" Because the lighting really is expensive. So I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because the camera that we've got now isn't compatible with the lights that we've got in the studio at work." So now I said, "I'll just buy them. Just buy the new lights. Just get new lights." Because what's happening now is the new camera, which is pin sharp, right, and doesn't strobe out because you can auto focus it, and really clever, right, but it strobes. So I thought, well, that's no good, is it? That's just as bad as the blurring out. So I said, no, we can't have strobing, Jim. We really can't have strobing. So he said, well, he said, we could always take your camera from your, I said, no, don't touch my camera. I said, that's the linchpin of the SHAC. I'm not giving up my overhead. Yeah. Get new lights. And it reminded me of this blooming, do you remember Mrs. Armitage's bicycle? What this bicycle needs is a bell. What this bicycle needs is a horn. What this bicycle needs. So now we've got the, you know, it's like what this studio needs is a camera. What this studio needs is lights. What this studio, watch. Wonder what the next thing will be. It's funny, really. But you know what? It's important because the camera, especially the overhead, is the linchpin of the whole process. It's the one, you know. If I looked a little bit blurry on the front one, I wouldn't mind. But you can't have the top one on the blink, can you? Or strobing. I mean, for the love of God. Right, we're going to go really, really light. Take a scrap of paper like I am now and just see how light. And that's the lightest. If that's as light as you can go, that's the one you want, where it's almost not there, but it is. And I'm going in circular motions like that. See? Light as light can be. Right, let's try the little flower. Rather than go to the center stage, let's do the little one. And we're going to go really, really light. And we're going to stay inside the lines. And we're just going to cover the poppy in a really light. Take the white away. There you go. That's it. That'll do. And we'll do the same in the larger. Now we've got our eye in. We've got our eye in. let's just go over this as well. There we are. Dave says this is picture perfect. Yeah. And because we've put the grey in already, it's easy to see where the poppy is, isn't it? So let's just do the flower, do the 2 flowers. And while we've got red in our hand, let's just put a little bit of red in there, in that bud, which is just opening. Just a tiny flash. Bit of artist license here, okay? But let's just put a little flash of red in there. There you go. Okay, we've done that. Right, really the lightest. And then what you're going to do, we're going to start building up our layers, but we want to get these kind of stripes. They're not stripes, but it looks like frills, okay? I did a similar thing. Let me show you the fuchsia. See the fuchsia? It's a similar kind of thing. So you said this one, we did it with pink and then with red. And what we're going to do here is a similar sort of thing, except we're doing it with red instead of pink. So let's have a look. And I thought the easiest way to show you what to do is when you look at the frills, we're going to add a bit of shade. So the obvious shady area is where there's a frill, like a wrap, right? So there's a wrap there. This petal here is behind that petal there. So that's definitely a little bit darker there. So you can see you're defining. This is sitting inside there. So let's add a little bit of just a little smidgen. You just have to keep just as delicate as a poppy is, like that. There you go. Just a little tiny bit of depth there. So this one's behind that one. So we want a little tiny bit of depth there, like that. Okay. You see that? So a little tiny. You don't want stripes so much as you want to kind of just graduate. See if you've got too heavy and it went striped on you, then where's your best mate? Your pink rubber, your pinky razor, right? And then you just break down that pink. See, if you think you've done too much, just get rid of it. In fact, if you want to put the stripes in, you know, this is another thing, is if you get too heavy-handed, you can always go in and introduce the white stripes afterwards. You may want to do that. But let's just see if we can do this. So now we've got a kind of a sheen, like just a really light layer of that colour. And what I want to do is, you've got to look at it now, like where it goes in, like down, you want to just add a little flash like that. So where it goes down, add a bit of red like that. Now that was a bit heavy. So you're going from where it's a dip, you're going to go and make just a flick like that, right? So look at the top bit here, right? Where it goes down, just make a little red line. Don't worry if it's, I know it looks a little bit stripy to start with, but you've got to get your eye in somewhere. So just go, when it goes down, add a little flash of like that. Okay, that's all you need to do. Where it dips down, add a little flash of red like that. And now what we're doing is we're coming in on a particular side. Okay, you can pick your side. But you're coming in on one side of the dip. Okay, so in other words, oh, come on, where am I? I'm not even on the page. Sorry about that. Sorry. Right, that'll do. Right, so you see, so you're going down on that side, down on that side. It's like a triangle. Just doing that bit there. And because it's so tiny, it's a good exercise in, do you know what it is as well? Let me tell you. It's fantastic for focusing the mind. Doesn't matter what's going on in your life right now. Look, let's go again. Where it goes down, make a little line, make a little line, make a little line. Okay? And when you've done that, then on same side of the line, we're going to make, on this side of the line, it's like we're going to make a little triangle there. So if that's the line, we're going to make a little triangle. So we keep coming in on the same side. Do you see? I mean, I'm going a little bit extreme here because I want you to see what I'm doing. So it's a little bit more like a candy store awning than a flower. But the reason I'm doing this, see, because it's coming in there, I'm coming in there like that. So it's just a question of, I know it's a little bit extreme this, but it's the only way I can show you. I can always blend it out in a minute, but it's the only way I can really show you. See, now in here as well, it's going to be darker in there. So let's add a little bit of red just along that edge there. And that's dark. So you're just building up the colour. Yeah? And then here, you know that this is going to be dark there and there as well. So let's just get a little bit. And then this is another, it's going to be where it's in the fold there like that. Just got to get a little bit of, here we go. A little bit of red in there. In the fold, it's like, am I off the page again? No, I'm there. I'm there, sorry. Like that. See, so you're getting these folds, and I know this, I've done it a bit extreme, but it's so that you can see. Cool, it is extreme, isn't it? But you'll get it in a minute. You watch, we'll tone it down in a second. But I had to do it that extreme to show you, to get how you get these lovely effects. Okay. Now let's try this one, because it's got the same idea, but less. Okay, not quite so. Let's leave the stripes there. They're all right. They're all right. Do you know what it is? I know what it is. It's because, let me tuck that in my jeans. It's the cable that keeps riding up under my chin. It's all good stuff. Right, see if that helps. Okay. Right, so now what we're going to do is let's go up here, and again, where it comes down, make a little line. It comes down, line, down, line, down, line. Okay, down, line. Wherever there's a little dip coming down, add a bit. It's just a good way to add a bit of depth. Okay, so I know it looks like a bit of a zebra, but that's okay. We're getting there. So just go down where it's. Now sharpen your pencil. Okay, best sharpener. See, it says R on this one. That's R for rubber. So that's been relegated, that one. Once it gets a bit, oh, darn. Let me empty this one. Once it gets a bit full, blunt, I mean, let me just get rid of all the shavers that I've just poured all over my masterpiece. Hey, don't do that on me. Right, that'll do. Excuse me. Right, so start again. Right, so these are very good pencil sharpeners. Colour. Faber-Castell. I like these. Right, I need to get sharp because I want to get in on this tiny little flower. So I'm going to add a little bit of shade in here. Now you may think, I know if my mum's watching, she's going to be thinking this. She'll be thinking, I know what she says. She says, this is far too long for one flower. Well, thing is, I love the process, you see. And I love the relaxation that doing this gives me. Yeah. So is it too long? I guess if I was selling posters, I couldn't make a living like this. That's for certain. But then you see, the businesswoman in me would say, right, spend hours on making immaculate flowers, and then go to print. Then invest the money, get some skin in the game, and go to get them printed digitally. And then you've got, how many do you want? 100, 500, 1,000, 5,000? Give me a price, you see? And that's how you make money. If you just want to sell one poster, you know, either it's an insanely expensive poster or you're just a busy fool. Grüß dich, Marion. Schön, dass du da bist. Right. So what we're going to do now is add a little bit of depth. Mind you, I say that, I'm actually reaching an age now. You know, we played that we played that game for many, many years on TV. The you know, having to bulk, you know, churn it out, you know. And now I think maybe that's why we're much happier, because we're not having to do that so much anymore, you know. Let's have a look where we're going. Right, no, we're not. So I just want to put my little stripes in here as well. This is going to look lovely. See, so when it's really tiny, you do have to. Okay. So we get our shading in. Oh, and we'll get some depth going. Good. Good. So you're just blending out those colours now to soften it a little bit, because it does look a little bit extreme. So we'll just add a little touch of red. This will stop the stripiness, is when you just add a little flash of red across the top. See, it brings it in off the top there. And so now you're getting the true colour of the poppy, but you've got that lovely, flash of the frilly, the fritillary, or I don't know, it's a special word. I should have looked it up. I was in the zone. You know, the other way to do this, of course, is to, let's have a look here, is to use the white pencil as a kind of a resist before you begin. But I really like this, just gently teasing out the colours like this. So I'll tell you what we're going to do now, because sometimes I think also it's good to just step away from it for a moment. Let's just step away from a moment from the red, right? Because after a while you go kind of red blind. It's like all you can see now is red, and then you could start to make, you know, go into heavy or forget which bits layered. So my suggestion is at this point, right, that we lose the red. Just leave the red for a minute. Let's go to the greens, because we've got green going on in this flower. Let's take a look. Right, plenty of green. And because the red is quite powerful, I thought I actually really like the pergolina green. It's a lovely green, B7. It's just fresh, you know? It's a fresh green. And I'm going to combine it with a grey. Now, what's this one? Cold Grey 3. That was the one I used for the Cold Grey 3. There you go. I used the Cold Grey 3. So what I'm going to do now is just add a little bit of green, you know, to break it up a little bit. I'm going to put green in there. Green in the leaves, green in the seed pods. I mean, they could be brown, but they're not. They're alive. They're not dead. So let's have a look. We're going to go green. And in order to just add a little flash of green, a little bit of artistic license, I'm just going to go in here. And I'm not adding any shading or anything. I'm just going dark, bold green, just fresh, zesty. Got to be quite sharp pencil to get into these little, don't know what I was thinking when I drew them, but there you go. That's what they are. It's a little leaf there. So let's just add a little flash of green around there. Don't worry, I'll tone it down in a minute with a grey. So let's just get a little film of green going like we did before. Green flash. Yeah? Don't overthink this one. It's just an easy little exercise. We'll get the green down and then we'll have a look. Okay. So I went to see my mum, spent the day with her yesterday. Well, I went over there on Tuesday evening to try and beat the traffic, but that didn't work so well. The M25 is just insane. But nevertheless, I went and spent the night with my mum, and then I was there early in the morning. It was nice, you know. I really enjoyed her company, and then we went to Saver Centre, and we had a mooch, had a bit of lunch together. It was nice. It was just lovely to hang out and just step away from the plate for a little while, you know. And so I think I told you, Mum's got a budgerigar. You know, when Dad died, she said I was starting to talk to myself. I said, well, let's get a budgie. She didn't like cats. She didn't like dogs. So I said, let's get a budgie. She loves birds. She loves birds. So that's what we did. So we've got this little budgie called Curly. Right, now I'm going to use the grey and I'm going to add, let me show you what I've done on this one. So you can see here, I've added, you know that light, dark thing? Right, I'm going to use the grey and I'm going to put a drop shadow underneath the, just a little bit of grey here and there, just a bit of depth. Okay, so it's quite small, but like I say, that's the good thing. It gives you focus, you know, because you've got to concentrate. It's like mini makes, but let's just take a look at this leaf. So the leaf is light, then we're going to go dark on that side of the leaf, and then we're going to add a bit of darkness on the bottom. So it goes light, dark, light, and then dark again. Okay, take a bit of, can you see this okay? I hope so. So we'll add a little flash of green again. There, that blends it in nicely. So now we've got green at the top, then we go grey. So we go green, grey, green, grey. There you go, that's what you're doing. Green, then we're going along this edge here, on that side, on the top side of this line, grey. Then we're going to go green, and then at the bottom we'll go grey again. There, green, grey, green, grey, green, grey, green, grey. And it's really a nice way of adding a little bit of dimension. There you go. Green, grey, green, grey. That'll do. Green, grey, green, grey. Yeah, so Mum, she's got a budgie. Anyway, so the budgie's sitting. But I said, Mum, I said, I don't really understand, right? You've got this great big window, and then the poor little budgie's sitting in the dark. Surely it would enjoy, you know, you've got a beautiful garden. And I mean, I know that you're not going to let the budgie out, but wouldn't it be nice if the budgie could just sit and look out the window? You know, all you've got to do is pull it out of the corner, and then he's got a room with a view, Mum. And, you know, maybe he needs a little bit of sunshine. You know, I mean, obviously not direct sunshine, not going to fry him, but be quite nice for him. So she's like, okay, we could do that. So we moved the budgie, right, from the dark corner. And I said, also, you'll be able to see him better because he's closer to you. So she's got this big window, right, big window, lovely, beautiful garden. She sits in the armchair there. And then in this far corner, there's the budgie. So he's like that, right? He's only a little thing anyway. So I said, well, why don't we move him this way? He's got the lovely panoramic window in front of him, and you're much closer. So now when you talk to him, you can actually see who you're talking to. She said, I think that's a very good idea. So we did all that, moved the budgie around. He was, you know, so we got him in front of the window. No draft, no direct budgie. Listen, if you're a budgie expert, do me a favour. I know how to keep a budgie low. Anyway, so put the budgie there, and then I put a little nest, if you like. It's like a coconut. Gracie bought them for Oma, didn't you, darling? So she bought her loads of like toys and homes and things for the budgie. So she's got this coconut, you know, like a little. So I've gone in. Budgie's going to her. I said, it's okay. So I've got the little nest in there as well. So he could go somewhere. So he's not like in the middle of a goldfish bowl, you know, because he hasn't got the wall to his back now, and I can empathise with him there. So I said, right, okay. So we've got the little nest in there. So we've got that in there. We've sorted it out. We've cleaned the cage. We've really given it a spring clean, right? It's lovely. It's all good. She says to me, I thought we'd done. I said, right, we could go to the Saver Centre for lunch now, Mum. Go to Marks and Spencer's, do a spot of shopping. She said, but there's one more thing I have to do. And I thought, now what? And she goes, I have to put his rent up. Now he has a room with a view. I have to increase his rent. She just made me laugh out loud. She's dead serious. You know when they say the Germans haven't got a sense of humour? My mother has got a sense of humour. She had me in stitches. Yes, I got to write a letter and put his rent up. She called Marion, you'll appreciate this. She calls him her kleiner Untermieter. Untermieter means a tenant. It's little Untermieter, little tenant. And now she's got to put his rent up, which is so lovely. Anyway, back to the grey. And now what we're going to do is put a little bit of flash of grey in here. Untermieter. There you go. A little bit of rent, a little bit of grey under here. Right, so now you're adding a little bit of depth, a little bit of shadow, a little bit of light. Just got a light and shade on these. That'd be nice. There you go. That looks quite pretty, doesn't it? Which one am I on here? I suddenly thought, have I done this before? Okay, so, and I'll tell you what's nice. Now let's have a look here, because what we can do now, right, is we use this grey to add a little bit of depth around here as well. So it's not so red. If I keep going in with red, it's going to get brighter and brighter. So what I want to do now is just add a little bit of grey where we're feeling that it needs a little bit of depth, right? So just along there, where you know you're inside the flower, you know, like that, a little bit of grey. It just takes the brightness out of that red. Although, let's face it, these it's going to be lovely when it's done. Just a little toning down of the red. That's all we're doing. Just a little toning down of the red. Okay, and then we can go back in again with the red. But I think this is a good idea. I'm not saying it makes it dirty, but it kind of just calms it down a bit. Okay. Now, let's have a look. We've done the green. Happy with that. La-li-la. Done the green, grey, green, grey. Now, let's go back in with this red and let's tone this down a little bit. So we'll go back to have a look at what I've done here. Now, how different are they? You can see, can't you? This one's a little bit whiter. Do you get it? So now what we're going to do is take this back down a generation. Going to go darken it by one generation of colour. So I'm going to go in now with I've got my guide. I know where I'm going now. So now I'm going in with my red and I'm going to repeat the whole thing that I did before, right? So I'm going to go, oh, hello, see, too much. So I don't want to lose what I've done. So I'm going to go in like this again and I'm just taking out that, see the whiteness. So I've got a bit more depth on the red. Here we go. And then I'm just going to take that little bit of whiteness out. So it's just a little generation more of that colour. Like that. That'll work. And you're not going to lose the frill. You don't lose it. And you know, and if you do, then the easy thing is you can either darken the red or you get your rubber out, honestly. If you feel you've kind of overcooked it, see, I don't want it to be so stripy. It's not an awning, is it? It's not an awning, it's a poppy. A little bit of there, see, I like that better. A bit more subtle. I want to show you a set of stamps as well, because I think sometimes, you know, the poppy, I drew another really nice set of poppies and a poppy wreath, years ago. But we've got so many stamps. This looks a little bit too stripy for me. We've got so many stamps. Where's that rubber? See, let me just bring that. If I think I've overcooked it, I can always go back in and add a flash of white there. There you go. I like. We've got so many stamps that sometimes you don't even know what we've got, you know. I don't even know what we've got, so what chance have you got? And unless you've been in the clarity community for, you know, for 100 years, it's quite, you know, unless you know what you're looking for, how are you going to find it? That's my thought. Right, black pencil. You could use a black micron pen for this, but I'm going to stick to pencil for this one. And I just need a little to make the dots inside the, like that. Okay. So we're just going to pop those in there. And then what I am going to do is, just because I want to add a little bit of, not grunge, but because there's no grunge on a poppy, but just a little tiny bit of black dotting, stippling, just to give it a bit more texture. That's it. In there. It's a bit darker in there. See? It's not black, it's just grey, but it looks black. There you go. That'd be nice. Good, 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 good. I think you've got to know when to stop. That's the other trick. Now I wonder, now I've done a bit of grey and a bit of red. Let me try something. Would you mind if I just had a go? So we've got these blending pens, haven't we? And sometimes, look, and then we've got these blending nibs. So these are the perfect accompaniment to colouring in. And you can use oil with them, or you can dry blend. And when you dry, look, I'll show you. If you take, there you go, look, if you do that, sometimes, yeah, you can see it. When you, even with a no oil, you can see that it smears, or it just moves the pigment around, and it stops that granular look. I mean, if you put oil on that, it would really make a difference. But you can see how it changes it, can't you? Yeah, look, in that area there. So just by using the blending pen and the nib. Ranger used to do these, what were they called? Cut and dry or something like that. And then they discontinued them. And, you know, for people like me, that was like, what do you mean you've discontinued them? So we developed our own. We just made these, and they're absolutely brilliant because they slot in there. See, they slot straight into the pen like that. There you go. And then you have a little stash of them. And then and they come, you buy them, it's nice to have. I've got several of these. Well, of course I have one. Look, I do it for a living. So I've got several of these with different oil on them, or, you know, a couple of empty ones. And they work for parchment, but they work brilliantly. They work brilliantly on card as well. That's the point. So, for example, if I wanted to, I could go in here and smooth this out. See, I can smooth this out. And because the pens are so delicate, see, that sort of smooths it out. And I can tell you absolutely that that's how I got that on the, I know that I dry blended that. There's no way. And what I've done here, just if you wanted to have a go at the gladioli, I used the pink, pick a pink, any pink, but I used it with that ivory, that colour here. It's this one, ivory. Okay, and it comes in that set of 12. And that one and that one, when you dry blend them. See, if you use oil, then what will happen is it will all blend in and you'll just get a light pink. But if you dry blend, then the colours stay true. And that's worth knowing, I think, right? So if I take let me take a clean. And the other thing that I wanted to point out was, right, when I pop that nib in there and I'm using that nib, see, when it's new, they pretty much, they stay pretty good. But after a while, they splay a little bit. But it still doesn't matter. You can get on larger areas. But on the other end, the end that's inside here, it's really hard. And you actually can get more into the really tight areas like this. If you want to get the darker bit blended, you're almost better using the end that goes in there than then use this for the real simple, like the real light stuff here, see? But when you dry blend like this, just move the colour around gently, what you'll find is that, especially like with the, you don't just cover the whole thing. You've gone to all that trouble of doing this fritillary work, and then you take a bit of oil and all the white's gone because you've just gone straight through with a lot. So dry blending is good. And then the other thing is that you can use the dry blending to tone in the shadow on there. Yeah, so well worth knowing that as well. And now we've got ourselves a nice OP. There you go, orchid poppy. What I wanted to do before we finish tonight, if it's all right with you, I'm going to pop this to one side, and I want to show you the stamps, because I was just telling you that we've got these wonderful stamps. Look at all this stuff. I must forget to take that into work tomorrow. What is that? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay, so we've got these really nice stamps, and sometimes let's just put that over there. Sometimes you miss them because you've got so much. And this is an afterthought. This isn't planned. But when I was having I thought, cool, where are those beautiful stamps that I've got? And I drew these myself. And once you see these, you understand that I drew those as well, because they have the same look. Okay, so let me just show you. And you may be familiar with these, right? But this is that I found this. This is nice. This is nice. And you know what's lovely now? Like that's just stamped straight onto white. Look, onto this is really good actually. So all I've done is taken like a 3.5 by 3.5, right? I've stamped it on there like that. I've put a black edge around it, which is interesting because in Germany, I think we've talked about this before. In Germany, if you get an envelope and it's got a black edge around it, it means someone's died. Is that the same in England? It might have been in Victorian times. I don't think so much now. But if you get an envelope and it's got a black trim around the envelope, usually it means there's an announcement, you know. But I wanted to show you these poppy stamps, right? So look, we've got Lest We Forget, and I've just made these with it. This is just something I had in my stash, you know. So I put what I've done in my. Let me come out a little bit because I think I'm too close to show you what I'm doing. Right, that's better. So you can see my little stash of stamps here. What have I got here? Poppy wreath and wildflowers. Right, so I've got my wildflowers as well. I was looking at these. Isn't that ironic? So I was looking at these today. I really like these stamps as well. These are lovely. They're a beautiful kind of combination with the poppies. And poppies don't always have to be for Remembrance Sunday. Poppies are beautiful flowers, right? But they do have a symbolic, and this is a good one. So this one here is the wreath that I drew. But you know what's really cool now? Like that's just one big stamp. It's not 3 stamps, it's one big stamp. And then this is the wreath, see? So that's the wreath, like that. And then that little bit there is up there. But what's really cool is now that we've coloured in, you know what? Now we've coloured in the poster, you could immediately, you know exactly now how to bring this to life, don't you? See? So this is a really nice set. And the stamps, actually, I'll show you. They're quite, so you've got this set. Now, where are these ones? Because these are pretty cool. I think Grace will give you the link. Grace puts in Poppy. See, this is another set, which, look, I love these. So you've got, where are these from? Yeah. So it's another set. Grace will dig them out and give you the links. But these are a cool set as well. See if you can find them. See, so you've got that little stamp there, little poppy set. That's lovely too. Okay. But you've also got this big panel like that one, which is that. So I thought, I'll show you. I mean, that's what we do, friends. You know that. We make stamps. We're stamp makers. We're manufacturers. See, and that's going to sit really nicely on there like that. So let's just do it then. I'm going to do it. So I've got a 4 by 4 inch mega mount. I'll stick that on there like so. Right. Now let's see. I want to check the stamp first though, because obviously I haven't even tried it, let alone. Do you know, now that was another thing that I wanted to show was, so we got a bit of parchment And I thought this would be lovely. You could pop that over the top, like if you wanted to, like that's a little bit extreme. But say you take a piece of parchment. I'll stamp it in a minute for you. Look, and then you do that like that. And you could just, yeah, I mean, you could stop there. You don't have to go all the way round, right? But you could pop that on there like so. Pop there on there like that, right? So that now it kind of tones down. See, and then you could stamp onto it actually, but it also looks really nice just as a layer, you know. Once you've coloured that in, that tones right back, doesn't it? So you've got remember, you've got lest we forget. You could pop that down there a little bit. See, I like that. It's just a little trick, you know, just a little bit of parchment, but it will look really, really nice. Can we cover the days of your Edelweiss? Yep, let's do that next Thursday. Right, now, let's do this first, and we'll just, I think I might have even said that we'd do the daisy or the Edelweiss tonight, but then I went off on a tangent. But there you go. My memory is not what it used to be, and I keep forgetting to write things down in my book. Okay, so let me just try it on a piece of copy paper first, a bit of old scrap, to see how wet my ink pad is and how much ink I need. So black archival, so that way I could do watercolour as well, couldn't I? Let's just see if I've got enough ink on that, because it might be, look, I've got plenty of ink pads. I've got plenty of ink pads, just about digging out the right one. Let's have a look. This might be it, or it may not be. Let's have a look. No, it's not the one. So that's going to go back in the cupboard. See, I like old ink pads, but if you want a solid one, let's have a look. 1-1. I bet that's better. Let's give this one a go. Okay. I think this one's wetter. Let's try this one. See, this is the sort of thing you should do before you go live, Gray. But I think it's okay for you to know that this is how it works. It's not always perfect. You've got to try it. Right, go again. And that's why we go 1 for test and 1 for best. Right? And it's a big stamp, isn't it? So you've got to give it a bit of welly. Now let's go again, see if that worked. Nearly. Okay, that'll do. I know it's me, not the ink pad now. So I've got that one. I know what, do you know what I need? A little bit of, let's put a mat underneath that. I've got a little rinky dink A5 mat. That will help. Just a little bit of give underneath might help a bit, hey? Now let's go again. And then you'll see how easy it is. No, it's a big stamp, friends, but it's a beautiful stamp. Let's see. So we'll stamp that up and then we'll hover over the, so it's nice and sitting nicely. And then we'll press. And if I missed a bit there, right, then I'm going to press there because I think, right, okay, well, I'll give that a bit of welly then because I just missed that bit. So I'm going to press all of it. You know, you can always lift it up a little bit and then redeposit it. But to be fair, it should be fine. Now, I wonder if it holds like that, right? Then you can always burnish the back. This is what printers would do. And then you get in contact with the whole thing. Now let's see if it worked. Yes, it did. There. And that, my friends, is a beautiful, perfect stamp. Let's have a look. I'm going to show off now. Let's have a look. There. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Isn't that a beautiful thing? And do you know what I'd really like to do now? Is colour it in again. See, it just gives you that wanting to keep going. So there we are. We've learned how to get that fritillary going, the frilly bit on that translucent effect. We've done that, and we will get to the daisies, but not this evening. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope that you like that. I hope that Gracie was able to give you those these stamp links because they're rather special. And then, you know, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's have a poppy remembrance day, eh? Don't have to wait till November. I can remember 365 days of the year, you know. But there we are. If you want to make these for charity, we're an angel company. You might enjoy that too. And the idea with the parchment is a good one. And other than that, I'm going to love you and leave you and go and find Dave, and then we're gonna have something to eat. So the intimate fasting is taking a break. Lots of love. Enjoy your evening, and thank you for hanging out this evening. And Grace, thanks for your help too. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. And don't forget tomorrow, before you go, Deborah Wheeler is on television at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. And if you read my blog, you'll know what she's doing.